Hey, friend, welcome to this week's episode of Distribution First. If you're like most marketers or creators or business owners that I talk to, you are most likely running some sort of content led business. You're producing content, you're publishing, and you're also doing everything else that you have to do in your business. And for some reason, you might not be growing the way you want to. And in reality, this is usually because of a few things that are really easy to miss, but they're quietly stalling a lot of your progress. And so today I brought on Daniel Kosmala. He's an expert in building and scaling content driven businesses. And we are going to talk about 5 things that are quietly killing your growth, and more importantly, what you can do about them. So, Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Justin.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this. So, maybe as we set up this conversation and talk about these 5 things, maybe give us a little bit of the background on kind of either A, what you're seeing, or you can give a little bit of your background as well, but kind of how you
hmm
came to these conclusions.
Yeah, of course, happy to do that. Thanks again for having me. I currently work at a company called Uscreen. I've been there for nearly 6 years. I've been working in marketing roles for almost 15 years, I guess. It's been a long time. But I've worked at Uscreen for 6 years, and we have a video monetization platform for creators and entrepreneurs. Before that, I actually worked at a digital membership business that was doing just under $1 million a year in revenue with me, the founder, and a couple other people. So it was like, I think 5 people total to start. It was like me, the founder, and then just a couple of contractors. So cut my teeth there in terms of the subscription world, and then came to Uscreen 6 years ago. And we serve thousands of creators all over the world who are selling digital video in some shape or form, whether that's courses, mostly memberships and subscription businesses. And I have talked to hundreds and hundreds of those customers, and really over the last year have dug deep in with a number of those customers or a number of those people, like figuring out, okay, what's wrong with your business? Why isn't it growing the way you wanted to? What's wrong? And honestly, within a month of starting that work, I started to see patterns emerging. And a lot of the times people think that their business is unique, that their business is different than everybody else's, but I'm here to tell you they're all pretty much the same. Um, that's obviously a generalization. Like every business is different. Like they operate differently, but there are some common themes that really tie people together. And I started to notice very quickly, like these common threads. Like if you're struggling with this, you're not alone. If you're struggling with this, you're not alone. And there are clear ways to fix those things, which is the good news. So that's kind of how I've arrived where I'm at these days.
Yeah, so let's dive right into those then. What's maybe one of the main ones that you've sort of seen that sort of sticks out, like as you've talked to these hundreds of business owners and creators, as far as a sticking point to why they're not seeing the success that they
Yeah.
want to see?
So when I kind of like go through the 5, there are 2 that stand out to people as being like the sexy things to like go fix because they seem like the fun ones to work on. And that is like broken marketing funnel and email marketing, which honestly you could even lump in as being one piece of a marketing funnel. But honestly, people's funnels are usually broken, and so is their email marketing. So those are the 2 biggest ones. But honestly, the one that I come back to more consistently than either, like maybe not more consistently, but I think is a precursor to having a really good marketing funnel and to having really good email marketing, is the first one that I try to work with people on, which is like they don't know their audience as well as they think they do, which is a huge, like nothing else really matters if you're getting that part wrong. And if you don't know your audience well enough, like if you're making too many assumptions about who they are, what they want, what they're willing to pay for, like you're setting your business up for failure from the get go. So I am a huge proponent of going to figure out your customers like right out of the gate, and then leveraging that to build really good messaging that resonates with your core audience, with your target personas, that will drive conversions, will speak more to like value and transformation rather than just like feature stuffing, which is I think what a lot of people end up doing. So um, one of the first things that I usually advocate for people to do if I'm working with them, or if they already have this, is to like run a survey with their audience. And typically Like in the case of Uscreen, our customers usually have at least 3 segments of customers that they can be learning from. And that's people who don't pay them anything. So people in their social audience, people on their email list who have never bought anything. That's valuable insight right there, because those are the people you want to pay you at some point. Then you have active paying customers. So like active paying members, they're going to be a really solid mine of information when it comes to developing your product, improving it, adding features, adding content, and like what's the language that those kind of people are using, so you can reflect it back to the prospects. And then customers who have paid you and canceled, so churned customers, because from them you're going to learn where are the deficiencies and gaps in the product that we can then go improve, and maybe even try and win back some of those customers. So I like to survey those 3 segments with slightly different questions, but like, it's just use a Google form, use the free tools available, create a survey based on that specific segment, and then send them that survey. Give them an incentive to fill it out. So like a lot of the time that takes the form of like, if you fill out this survey by Friday at midnight, then you're entered in this giveaway to win an annual membership for free, or an Amazon gift card or something like that. But you want to have that incentive and then that time constraint, so that they know, okay, if I don't enter this by Friday at midnight, I lose out on that incentive. And that usually drives pretty good movement. Like we'll see typically hundreds of people filling out those surveys in most cases. And that is it's just a gold mine. And I think we often, as business owners, can underestimate or undervalue what feels like fleeting or passing comments from our audience. And what I mean by that is, like, I think people pay more attention to surveys, but the things that we pay less attention to are like the one-off emails from a customer, the comments on an Instagram post, or the comments on a YouTube video. Because we're like, oh, it's just YouTube comments, it's just trolls, whatever. Or Instagram comments, it's like somebody's just like, hey, this was so helpful, thanks so much, and you just go in and immediately respond, thanks for being here, you're awesome, and that's it. And that's the end of the conversation. You move on because there's a million things going on in your head. But what you miss is that person actually used a phrase that's used by 24 other people that are in your audience who want to be a member, but you haven't used that language with them yet. So they haven't had that realization of, oh, this is for me, because they talk like me. They know what I'm going through. They know what I need. They know, and they know what I want. And like, I think this is valuable enough to buy. So I think we undervalue that quite a bit. So I love using all of that as like a gold mine of information. And honestly, it's such a vast amount of information that it can be really overwhelming to try and parse through. And like, well, I got 140 survey responses. And I looked at all of them individually, and it's helpful, but like, now what do I do? Like, my brain is just full. And I think it's good to like ingest all of that, process, let it digest, because you'll internalize some of that. I think that's great. But there are these other tools called LLMs that are really popular these days that are incredibly fast and insightful at helping parse through that kind of information and surface stuff you're going to overlook. So as a thought companion, like ChatGPT is invaluable in this kind of instance, because you can upload a CSV of survey responses. You can upload screenshots of DMs, screenshots of Instagram comments. You can tell it to go look at your Instagram account and give it the link to your Instagram account and tell it to review your account. Give it the link to your homepage or a screenshot of your homepage and tell it to review all of that. And then ask it like, hey, based on this input from my audience, how can I improve the copy on my landing page to better resonate with this audience? And it's like, just step by step, using it for things like that we often overlook or undervalue, that can make such a massive difference in setting the foundation and setting the scene for your subscription business to be profitable and growing, rather than just kind of throwing, spaghetti at a wall.
Yeah, and I would say this is regardless of your business type. I've worked in so I didn't say this. I should have said this, right? Like my Distribution First Academy is on Uscreen. So like the membership side of my business is on Uscreen. So, but regardless of like working in B2B SaaS, working as just a straight up consultant, solopreneur, like you can never go wrong surveying your audience. You can never go wrong trying to get former customers, people who, you were on sales calls with. Again, harder to do in that instance, but maybe, if you were a solopreneur or something, I think you could probably get creative of like, hey, if you just, fill out this survey, maybe I'll run an audit for you or I don't know, give a free 30-minute consulting call or something. Like, I'm sure there's a way to get creative around that. But what I love about what you talked about, once you have all this data, because I think that is, my head instantly goes to like, oh my gosh, yeah, like, because I've done this, I've taken, all these screenshots or all this different information. Um, I think the step that's invaluable that you actually mentioned first is that sort of downloading it to yourself before you upload it to the LLM. And so you can be sort of also processing it and doing the hard work of thinking through some of those things rather than simply export data, upload to ChatGPT, give me every answer I need. Like, that's amazing and it's really tempting. And I've done that many, many times, but it's so much more valuable when you pair it in tandem with, all right, I'm going to read through these responses. I'm going to give it some thought. I'm going to think through this.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing a lot of this these days where people are, I think there will be a certain degradation of like thought that happens because of exactly what you mentioned. Like, people are, instead of thinking critically, allowing time for our own minds to process, they're just like, ChatGPT can do this faster and quicker and better than me. Why don't I just like forgo that part of the process? And you can make that argument, but I think that will lead to like I said, a degradation of like our own thinking capacity. And so I think it's good. I think ChatGPT is a great companion. I don't think it's a great replacement for these kind of things.
Yeah, I think it definitely in the macro. Like in the micro, you could make a very easy argument of like, this is an easy one-to-one replacement. It's going to speed up all this time. But I think over the lifespan of like how effective you are as a business owner, as a marketer, et cetera, like you still need to be doing that hard work and that thinking. As far as not knowing their audience, I think this is a huge problem, not only from what do I put on my landing page, but what content do I create? Who am I actually creating content for? I think with a lot of folks that I talk to kind of in the B2B space in particular, it's like we were so trained on, keywords and just trying to like search up topics and what that, how to, this keyword is, ranking for this amount of search terms. I'm going to drive this amount of traffic. And it's just marketing is completely changed where you are far better off now mining the gold and then creating the content, whether that's gated in your membership, on social, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever YouTube, wherever you're at, and then just providing that information, whether or not somebody's searching for it or not, because the discovery of that content has completely changed.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a lot of that here with what we do. So I think one of the other big things that we run into is people just not knowing how their funnel works. Like, discovering people through an LLM is one thing, but like most or SEO is one thing, but most people aren't going to be found that way these days. And most like social media is still kind of the king in that realm in terms of discovering a new thing. But what we often see, or what I often see, is like people will say, I've got this social following, I've got this product I need to sell, so let me just slam those two together and hope for the best. And then they're like, well, that'll work. Like, I've seen it work for that first batch of customers. But then they just keep hammering the same thing. And they're like, what they're trying to do is a one size fits all journey. And that's just not how it works. Like, everyone's journey is going to look a little bit different. And so you have to provide different doors for people to walk through in order to get to your membership, in order to get to that digital subscription. Because like, there are some people who've been following you forever, will buy anything that you put out there. That's great. For the rest of those people, you have to create a journey for them. And a lot of people won't do that. They just don't think it through. And I honestly don't think of social media directly to like a membership conversion, even as a funnel. To me, that's just like a 1-2 step. To me, an actual funnel is one where you're building a relationship, where you're generating equity with the customer because you keep providing value at multiple touch points throughout their journey with you, so that when you make that ask, it's a no-brainer because you built up that equity. And it's like a bank or like Gary V's jab, 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 right hook. There's no difference. You're just making deposits. And when it's time to make a withdrawal, you're pulling from that balance. You have to have enough of a balance to be able to make that withdrawal, so you don't overdraft and have overdraft fees, which I don't know how that's still a thing in 2025, but I know it is. So with that, we've seen there are all sorts of shapes and sizes for funnels. The most consistent, pretty universal one that I see though is social media to some sort of free piece of content that you get in exchange for an email address, to then, and this is where it can get a little more nuanced and murky. It kind of depends on the business model. From that freebie, some people can go straight to the conversion point. Others still need a little bit more. And what happens in that case is like they might be ready to trust you with $10 one time or $20 one time, but they're not ready to give you $15 every single month yet. They're not there. So at this point, it's like, okay, will you fork over $29 for, a super valuable piece of content, whether it's a workout video, whether it's a week of workouts, whether it's a mini course, whatever it is. They trust you with that one-time thing. You deliver on that value. They use it. They get value from it. And then those people will be ready. So like in many cases, there will be multiple funnels. And sometimes you have to put people through multiple funnels before they'll convert. That's just like the way of the world. Like some people will go social to convert to your membership. Some people will go social to that freebie to conversion. And then others will go through both of those and not convert. And then we'll go through and want the one-time product, and they'll trust you a little bit. And then 2 months later, they'll convert to your membership. So yeah, and so some people's sales journey takes 2 weeks. Others, it takes 2 months. Sometimes it's crazy, but sometimes that can take 2 years. Like it's just, you're playing this long game of like just adding value, building value into people, and then trusting that when the time is right, they'll see that call to action that hits them at the right point, at the right time, and they'll convert. So a lot of the times people just aren't putting in the work to build a funnel at all.
Is part of the, I think the hidden, as we're talking about, like these are sort of the hidden things that fall through, is even if you have a funnel, like you said, it really is multiple steps for multiple people. Like I'm curious if as you're talking to these people and consulting with them, because my first gut reaction is like, oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming. I've got to do, if they didn't buy, then I got to now bump that. Okay. Or they bought this one-time thing, they bought a course or a workout series, but they're not in the membership. Like now I got to set up a funnel for those. Like, is that actually like advisable? Like, that's worth the effort? That's something to do? Or is it like, I'm just overcomplicating it?
It's iterative. And so like when I start working with somebody, if they have nothing in place, the first thing I want to do is like get a free piece of content set up to capture emails. That's the first thing I want to do. And I want to start getting traffic through that so that we can dial in the messaging, get the offer right, get the nurture right, get the conversion right. And I want to get that working really well before I do anything else. And I think that's where most people go wrong, right? Is that they'll be like, okay, I need this. And they'll set it up and they'll be like, great, that's done. And then they go and build the second thing without making sure the first thing is even working. And then they'll just repeat that process.
And then how are you advising driving to that? Social?
Yeah. In most like almost all Uscreen customers have a social following of some sort, that of some shape and size that's like large enough to be able to drive traffic to those places. It's very rare that I'll see someone who's like got an SEO strategy or anything else, or even like running paid ads is a further down the line thing that people do. In most cases, they've got a social following that they rely on first.
Okay. And is it sort of like more subtle, like back-end CTAs of like, I know one of the things that we're going to touch on is bad CTAs, but like, is it like CTAs or is it like standalones of like, hey, I've got this thing, I've got this free workout series, come check it out, mix of all of the above?
It's a mix of all the above and doing what's right for your brand. Because like the last thing I want to see is you deciding, okay, I'm like, you built this social following by doing X, and then we start working together and you're like, oh, I need to do more CTAs. And all of a sudden you change your content and people are like, what the heck are you doing? Like, I don't stop. So I think it's about finding a sustainable rhythm, because you don't have to have a call to action in every single piece of content that you post. It's actually, I take that back. I do think you should have a call to action in every piece of content you have, but I think a call to action for like a paid offer should be like the exception rather than the rule. I personally think calls to action can and should be to like give people more value. For example, like if you're on YouTube and you make one video a week, so let's say that on average there's four weeks in a month, so you're producing 4 videos a month on YouTube. One of those should be like a call to action to your paid offer. The other 3, the call to action should be to watch more content on your channel, in my opinion. And that's what YouTube wants. That's what YouTube rewards, right? Like their algorithm is built on maximizing time on platform. And so when you send people from one video to another and then another, YouTube is excited about that, and you get rewarded by the algorithm. When you send people off platform, YouTube's like, don't like that as much. So you don't want to do that kind of thing often, because these platforms are all smart enough to know when you are sending traffic away from their platform. Like they're watching that.
They sure do.
All of them are watching and doing that. And it's hard. Like some platforms, like TikTok is a great example, is of a platform that like, you probably can't think of many times where you have been on TikTok and actually like tapped a link to go away from TikTok. Yeah, whereas like Instagram, I think it's more common. Like you hit the link in bio and it pulls up the thing, the pseudo view where you're like on a web page, but you're still actually in the Instagram app. Whereas like on TikTok, if you click a link for something to buy, it's just going to swipe you over to TikTok shop in most cases. Like you're rarely going to get pushed off platform. So all that to say, I think call to action should be made at the right time for the right thing. I think like to the paid offer should be the exception rather than the rule. And all your other content should just push people to engage with more of your content, whether that's leaving a comment. Like a call to action can be to comment on a post or to share the post or to watch another video. Those are all also call to actions. And I think people too often are like, oh, a call to action is just like subscribe or join now or whatever. And then they use, and this is going into more of my spiel on it, but like most call to actions are boring. And you don't get people to buy stuff by being boring. You get people to buy stuff by making them go, oh, hell yeah, that's for me. I need that. And a call to action, the language of call to action should reflect that energy, in my opinion.
So would you also advise, if we hop back a little bit, talking about building out that funnel, starting with that freebie, sending somebody to that freebie? In my world, this historically in SaaS was the gated ebook or something back in the day, or even honestly free trial, which is same for memberships. You get a free trial for membership, etc. But I'm guessing, would you include that as part of the paid? Like I'm asking for something other than you to consume more content. I'm asking you to like go sign up for this, even if it's free, but I'm still asking you to go off platform and do something. Or do you separate those?
Are you asking if like I consider a free trial to be more of the paid?
I'm more curious in terms of like the frequency of ask. So like, would you, if I've got a free workout series, if I've got a free mini course that I'm offering as my lead gen piece to bring you into my funnel, and I'm posting a YouTube video, would my one of 4 CTAs be, hey, join the, get this freebie? Or would you kind of, or would you mix that up a little bit more?
So to answer that question, I think the answer is I would classify like sending people to a lead magnet as being kind of like that, because that's the funnel I want them to get into ultimately. And I think what I have seen pretty consistently is that like for subscription offers, if you're trying to send people from a social platform to that membership subscription offer, it just there's a disconnect there. Like one of our customers, they spent a ton of money on paid ads. They spent a ton of time and effort, like trying to send people from their YouTube videos to their membership offer, and got almost nothing to show for it. And then they switched, and any call to action they do in ads or on any social platform is purely to get an email address. They only optimize for email addresses, and it changed the business. And it works significantly better for them than trying to get that purchase. So I think the answer is like, yes. I think the 1 out of 4, in my opinion, should most often be to that freebie to get an email address. Because if you get the email address, you can keep that relationship and conversation going. Whereas if like you send them to an offer page and they just look around and disappear, you have nothing to show for it.
So yeah, to recap, we've hit on 4. We've interspersed some of these. So folks don't know, you don't know your audience as well as you think you do. Number 1, I think even if, as I look at companies that I work with, companies I worked with in the past, and even my own company, it's like you can never go wrong talking more to your audience or learning more about your audience. The second busted one is broken or misshapen funnels. So we've touched on a little bit as far as either not having one at all, not having any way to capture, not having that clean path, trying to do too quick of a jump over to your product. Number 3, boring CTAs. So we've touched on that a little bit as far as boring CTAs. I think we're going to lead into 4 here now as sort of what you were talking about, which is messy and broken email marketing. So you've got people, you set up your funnel, you know your audience, you even might have some pretty good CTAs, you're getting people, they give you your email, finally, hurrah, and what do I do with their email, Daniel? What the heck? I have like 2,000 people. What do I do? Who are these people? What do they want?
Most people do not have an answer to that. Or if they do, they're like, can I use Substack for that? I'm like, no, that's not like the best solution here. And if you want to be on Substack and you're growing an audience there, it actually can be a great discovery platform. It's kind of like what YouTube is for video, Substack is for kind of written these days, and or newsletters. Like, it's a great discovery engine. But in terms of like automations and segmentation and all that, and triggers to be able to send emails at the right time to the right person, not a great solution. So most people are not doing like much of anything there, which is problem number 1. You need, in a lot of cases, you're going to need something like Zapier, so you can say, when this action happens, do this, then do this, then do this. And then it triggers your email platform to then put that lead in a contact, or that contact in an automation, which then sends them a series of 3 emails over the course of a week, which pushes them closer to conversion. Absolutely necessary, in my opinion, in today's world. I think the other big, maybe even bigger piece is that I think most people suck at writing. And like, they don't outsource it in any way. And then they're just like, I have to send an email to my audience. Like, I have all these leads, I need to tell them to buy. And so then they go write this like half-hearted email because they're stressed about a million other things. They're getting feedback from existing customers like, hey, this is broken and it's not working and you need to fix it. The app store is like, hey, your app just got delisted and you have to go appeal to them. And then you're like answering whatever responses. And not to mention, you're like, I don't even know how to prioritize any of this. All of it's important. And then you just write this email and you're like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. Will you come and check out our membership? And
you're like, buy my stuff.
You get that email
please
as
buy.
an end user, and you're like, delete. What a waste of don't waste my time with trash like that. My email inbox is already clouded with so much junk. Everyone uses email. Everyone. Like, most people open, I think it's like 80 or 90% of people with an email address check it daily. It's a insane statistic.
Maybe multiple times a day.
So, yeah, a lot, multiple times a day. And instead of like considering that and saying, okay, people are getting bombarded with emails, they're checking it multiple times a day, I have an opportunity to get seen by those people. What's the best thing I can do to get seen by those people and stand out in the sea of nonsense that they're getting? The best thing you can do is write a great email. Every time I go to my email inbox, I'm like, I'm going to have to delete half of what's there because it's junk. And it doesn't matter how many times I unsubscribe, there's still going to be all this junk in there. But there's probably 2 or 3 emails I get excited about because I know they're coming. And when I see who it's from, and I see the subject line, I'm like, definitely going to like set aside 20 minutes to deal with that later, because I want to dedicate time to reading that, processing it, all those things. But those people put in a lot of time, effort, and energy to making those emails great and to sending out high quality content. I think the bar is pretty low in terms of like putting out really great email content and having great copywriting. And listen, again, ChatGPT can be a great companion here, but it should not be a replacement for you, because ultimately ChatGPT and Claude and the other LLMs, like they can get you 60 to 80% of the way there. But then there still needs to be 20% of you in that email, and like personalizing it with, and I think some of the best emails are the ones that start with like a relatable story. Like when somebody's like, my kid threw up this morning, or there was a tornado in town last week, and because of that, this happened. And like stuff that everyday people relate to. Like I had to go cut, I didn't take a lunch break today. I went out and cut my grass because it's been raining nonstop and now it's hot and the grass just will not stop growing and I have a jungle in the front yard. And like stuff like that, that like you're laughing because I know you're probably dealing with the
I
exact
had the
same thing.
exact same problem last week, Daniel. So,
Exactly. And I was like, can I cut my grass in 30 minutes today? Guess we're going to find out. But like, that's the kind of stuff that like when you put that in an email and you find a way to communicate that in a way that like makes people laugh or gives them energy, or it's like, me too, brother. That makes it far more likely that they're going to keep reading and then engage with what you have to say. And even if you're just sending a value add that's like, hey, I just want you to check out this video. I think you're going to get a lot of value from it. Watch it when you've got 5 minutes to spare today. And that's the call to action. That's great, because if your click rate, if you can get your click rates up, if you can get your open rates up, because you are doing relatable stuff, you're doing emails that like give people energy, make them smile, make them laugh, make them feel something other than this email freaking sucks, because they already have enough of that. And they're coming in with the mindset of all these emails are going to suck. So if you can break that process for people, then you're going to have impactful emails. And I think just the bar is, like I said, the bar is much lower than it's been in terms of like putting out good email content. And I think that is like, I would honestly, like if you're thinking about where to focus your energy, I would rather you focus on writing and producing great emails that get read and opened than I would setting up the world's best automations, because none of the automations matter if you don't get people to open them.
Totally. And it's just, you know, I had an episode earlier this year with Casey Hill, and we were talking about just email in general and how that platform, even though as sort of a dinosaur of a marketing platform as email is, it's like you mentioned, it's still, I'm literally have my email open over here. It's open all the time. I get emails all the time, but they are also getting smarter. Like I just saw Google now has, just last week, I opened up my email and they're like, hey, Gmail now will help you sort all your promotional things, and you can easily like they're trying to make it a little bit easier to sort and filter, which I think is great as an end user of like, oh yeah, I didn't even know I was on that thing. As a creator, as a marketer, you better step your game up, because they are just making it way more easy to unsubscribe, to unengage, to not interact with anything that you're sending. And it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You know, I think it's, you worked so hard to get somebody on your list, and obviously unsubscribes happen. Literally every email I send, there are unsubscribes every single time without fail. That's just part of life. But yeah, I think trying to send an email, trying to send a newsletter that people are interested in and are like, ooh, yeah, he sent an email, she sent an email, I'm ready to open this, matters. And honestly, even the times that I don't open them, somebody told me this years ago, and I thought it was so good, is like just seeing my name show up in their inbox, even if I don't have time to read it, and I just like delete it or even click, you know, mark as read or whatever, I'm still seeing them show up in my inbox. I'm still there's still some equity there of me showing up, even if I don't have the time to do that. I'm curious, how do you advise balancing? Because I think like the helpful, quote unquote, for anybody who's not watching, or valuable content matters. How do we weave that in with, I'm also trying to sell something, I also am trying to get you into my membership, I'm also trying to get you to buy this course or to buy my software, to buy my service? How do we balance that? Because I think there, you know, you can write a great sales email too.
I think it comes down to, and this is kind of like the fifth thing, which is like people suck at selling. And the reason for that is kind of, I alluded to it earlier, which is like people get into business, or because in our case, they're content creators, and they're really great at making content. They're like, I have content and that has built me an audience. Let me just slap those two together. It'll be great. And I'll just tell them about the content that they want to buy or that I have for them to buy, and they'll buy it. Nope, that's it's not going to work like that. That's the equivalent of walking up to a random person on the street and being like, we're getting married. I'm sorry. Nope. Nope. Just because that's an audience and I am the product doesn't mean that they should be together forever.
Or even that person you've known for a while, you grew up in school together, that you have some sort of, and like, hey, you ready? It's like, no, I know you, but like,
not
I'm
that
just,
well.
I'm just on your email list. Like,
right. So what actually works, and like, I think people just forget like how they should talk about things. Like they get into the business and you get so close to it that you're just like, you forget some of the very simple, obvious things that you should be doing, which is talk about your experience. Talk about why you got into this. Talk about the people that you've helped. How many have you helped? How have you helped them? What is the average help look like? Like, what is the average transformation? So you have a customer or a prospect who was in your audience before, and what did they look like then? And 6 to 12 months after they've used your product, what do they look like now? What are they like? Talk about that transformation. It's not, because what happens with people on Uscreen is they'll be like, they'll get apps with us. They'll have the community feature. They'll have the calendar feature. They'll have all these great features, and they'll tell their audience in their sales page, like, hey, you can access this anywhere, anytime. You can download it on your phone. You can watch it anywhere on the go. You can get the community in your pocket. You can look at the calendar and get all this stuff. Their audience is sitting there going like, why do you think I care?
but what do I actually get?
Well, like what does that do for me?
Yeah.
Like, what is in it for me? And if you can't answer that question, then your sales are always going to fall flat. And what you need to do is build, like, I think it's Alex Hormozy who talks about this, like, where's the stack of evidence that proves how great you are? And talk about that stack of evidence. Talk about how you built it, where you built it, like what's in that evidence. Like, why should people trust you? Why does any of this matter to them? And if you can kind of make that simple shift from like, features are great, but features are like a secondary selling point in almost every case. What actually needs to be sold is the value of what you're doing. Like the value of a fitness program isn't in the fact that they're offering cardio HIIT classes. The value is like, you're going to build a consistent practice of discipline, and in the next 90 days, like your physical appearance is going to dramatically change. Like the baby fat's going away, your abs are coming out.
You can wear your old pair of jeans.
You're going to wear your old clothes.
Yeah.
You're going to have more energy than you've had in 10 years. And everyone's like, people are going to respect you more because of it. Like, it's figuring out what it is that your end audience actually wants out of this, and positioning that to them, and being like, this is what I will help you do. And it doesn't even cost, it's $19 a month. It's hardly anything. And then here's how you can get access to it. It's super, I've made it as convenient as possible, as addicting as possible, so that you'll stick with it. And like, I think people always put features first. And I think features should be like second or third on the list when it comes to selling. It's more of a supplement than like the core of what you're trying to get at.
And I think going full circle, if we rewind this episode and hit the section where we talk about knowing your audience and surveying your audience, smack dab into audience segment number 2, current and existing members, users, etc., clients. That what do I offer? What's the transformation? Survey your audience. Try and get them to answer that for you. Try to have a discussion. Even just simple, honestly, I've seen, even for my membership, like asking for testimonials, getting somebody to record a 2-minute video can just, unlock so much insight into value that you didn't even perceive or understand, or get that transformation. Because I think it's like, I know specifically running a membership business, it can be hard because you don't always see the ins and outs of the successes of the people inside your membership, because they're off doing their own thing. And so, and if they might be super, crushing it, but not sharing in the wins, channel, or,
Right.
have a question, but not always active in the community. Like, this is just how memberships work. But then you show up on, I've had many one-on-one calls as part of my membership with clients and members. And it's like, oh my gosh, like there's so much value that is getting created and driven out of a 30-minute phone call. And so then it's just trying to extract that information out of members and trying to figure out like, okay, like how actually, I think this was helpful. How was that helpful?
Right. Yep, absolutely. And I think you're dead on in that it comes full circle. Like the beauty and this wasn't like an intentional thing, but as I dug in with customers, it was like, oh yeah, they're all struggling with these 5 things. It was like, oh, and they all feed into each other and off of one another and like circle back on one another. And it's one of those things that like once you start getting input and insight from one thing, it just leads to improving the others, and it just kind of goes full circle over and over and over again. And it should be like this kind of like self perpetuating loop of growth and hopefully improvement.
So as we sort of think about all 5 of these, and we could probably do another episode just simply on like pure implementation of this, honestly. But like, what would be your suggestion of like, cool, you've got this stuff. Here's how you could start implementing all of the, like you're aware of these 5 things, right? You got to get better at selling. You got to understand your audience. You've mentioned some of them as far as like surveys and things like that. But what are sort of the clear path that you would advise somebody to start?
Yeah, that is the challenge, is like not overwhelming people, and that's why I like try to take it one thing at a time. And like I said, one of the best places to start, in my opinion, is just gathering all of that data, surveying your audience, screenshotting DMs, screenshotting comments, and collecting all that in a folder, putting it in a zip folder, and uploading it to ChatGPT. Like that is a great place to start. From there, developing your messaging and like documented messaging. And what I mean by that is like most people don't even have like a value proposition, which is like, I help this person achieve this thing by doing this practice. And if you can, like, it can and should start with a very simple rudimentary value proposition. And you're going to say it the first time and be like, that sucks. And it probably will. And that's okay. It should suck. The first version will be bad. It'll be like, I help women achieve lasting success by helping them do postpartum workouts. And you're like, I have no idea what that means. And that's like, I will sit on calls with customers and be like, hey, you got a first version down. That's what I care about. It's not good, but you got a first version. Now, and the thing from there is like, get more specific, because you can't help all women. You can't. It's impossible. So who are the women that you actually help? What's their age? What's their level of affluence? What's their demographics? Where do they live? What do they value? Like, get really specific with that, and then like achieve. I don't even remember what I said they achieve. Help them achieve. Well, I don't remember what I said. Whatever you help them achieve, you need to get more specific with that too. Like, what is that dream outcome? Is it mental clarity? Is it physical well-being? Is it emotional clarity? And then the how is the easy, because it's like, what is the content you create that helps achieve that already? And if you can put those together in like a 1 or 2 sentence statement, and then take that into ChatGPT alongside those testimonials and things from customers, it can then spit out like, here's what I recommend in terms like of a messaging guide for your business. And that you take that, you download it, then you upload it to ChatGPT. Like, this is my messaging. Use this to develop all copywriting in the future. And now you've got like this thing that can evolve and continue to grow and improve. But like, to me, that's like the number one place to start, because most people have never spent the time to do that. And so their messaging is all over the place. Nothing's consistent. They're saying different things in different places to different people because they don't even remember. And so it's like, get consistent, build that messaging foundation, and start growing from there. So to me, that's like almost always the first place to start.
It's so funny because phase 1 in the distribution first framework is building the foundation, which is all about messaging, and it's all the boring stuff that people want to jump right over. But if you want to share,
like, I just want to go build my funnel.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to talk about it?
Right. What are you going to write about?
What
emails? Yeah. What's your?
It's gonna suck if you do it that way.
Yep. Yep. It is not going to be as successful. If I were looking at this as I'm looking through these 5, I think for me, I love the idea of just taking one at a time. So go through each one of these 5, if as part of your business, as part of your company, however you want to do it, and just go through and figure out, okay, cool. Yep, I don't know my audience as well as I need to. Before I worry about any of these other things, I'm going to sit down and do some of the stuff Daniel talked about with my audience. Okay, sweet. Now I can move on, and I'm going to, what is my funnel? What is our funnel? Is it broken? Is it do I have one? Do I have 4 that are pointing to like, I'm thinking about mine. I'm like, oh, I have too many. And so like, you're just thinking through some of these things, and then you just work your way down and fix each one of these problems as they come up. And I think if I know, if I were to do this with my business, I know if I were to do this with other clients and with customers as well, it would be pretty life changing as far as how their business is run and the insights they would have on it. So Daniel, this has been an absolute blast, and I love chatting with you about this.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
You too.